You're listening to WQ 99.1 FM. Braves Country. Actually, you're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM. The Armchair quarterback, Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99, WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines 2 of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, sports fans, the Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. In case you missed it over the weekend and late last night, Major League Baseball free agency is continuing to charge towards the new season. Kevin Kiermaier agrees to terms with the Toronto Blue Jays. The center fielder leaves the Tampa Bay Rays, but will stay in division. The 3-time Gold Glover joins a new-look outfield that lost Teoscar Hernandez in a trade with the Seattle Mariners. Also late last night, Sean Manaea signed a 2-year deal with the San Diego Padres, reportedly 2 years, $25 million, with a opt-out clause for Manaea at the end of the season. The New York Mets keep getting stronger. They add Kodai Senga, right-handed starting pitcher.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. In case you missed it over the weekend and late last night, Major League Baseball free agency is continuing to charge towards the new season. Kevin Kiermaier agrees to terms with the Toronto Blue Jays. The center fielder leaves the Tampa Bay Rays, but will stay in division. The 3-time Gold Glover joins a new-look outfield that lost Teoscar Hernandez in a trade with the Seattle Mariners. Also late last night, Sean Manaea signed a 2-year deal with the San Diego Padres, reportedly 2 years, $25 million, with a opt-out clause for Manaea at the end of the season. The New York Mets keep getting stronger. They add Kodai Senga, right-handed starting pitcher, 5 years, $75 million. Senga is 29 years old. He starred in 11 seasons with the Fukuoka Hawks of Nippon Professional Baseball, going 104-51 with a 2.42 ERA, over 1,300 innings in 275 starts. Senga has been recorded with triple-digit fastballs and a split-finger fastball that is nicknamed the Ghost Fork. National Football League is back at it again tonight. The New England Patriots travel to the Arizona Cardinals. Bill Belichick and company are 6-6 on the year, while the Cardinals have disappointed their fan base at 4-8. Patriots are 2.5-point favorite, and the over-under is 43.5. The Atlanta Hawks are back on the court tonight. They travel to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. That game can be seen on NBA TV nationally. Atlanta is an 8-point underdog. 227.5 is the over-under. Other games of interest in the NBA tonight. The Heat are at the Pacers at 7 o'clock. Celtics are at the Clippers, 10:30 Eastern. That game can also be seen on NBA TV. The Oklahoma City Thunder are at the Magic, 8:30, first tip, while the T-Wolves and Trailblazers battle out in Portland at 10 o'clock tonight. A game of note in SEC men's basketball play, 9 o'clock on ESPN2, you'll have Memphis, 8-2 on the year, traveling to number 8 Alabama. The Crimson Tide are 8-1 and 4-0 at home. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Rum and Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub cup. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, but I don't know much, but I know one thing. Nothing humorous to start off today. Our prayers are with the Mike Leach family. More on that in a second.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country with the Armchair Quarterbacks here on WQEE and streaming wherever you stream. Just look up Braves Country HD and you should be able to find us. Okay, just to start off today's show, because we do have a lot of sports to get into, but if you missed the news, because it's flown a little bit under the radar, and I guess maybe it's because though he's a college football coach, he's not at a huge university. I don't know, but I feel like it hasn't been touched on much today. But Mike Leach, if you missed this earlier in the day, the news is coming out that Mike Leach is in a bad way and he remains in critical condition. Now, this is an update from Mississippi State football. So this comes straight from Mississippi State football headquarters. They released a statement that says, I'll read it to you real quick. Mississippi State University head football coach Mike Leach remains in critical condition at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. Mike's family is with him and appreciates the overwhelming express of love and support, but also requests that their family be that also requests that their family's privacy be respected at this time. Excuse me. That is the extent of information that Mississippi State University has available regarding Coach Leach's condition, and the university will make no other comment at this time. Mississippi State will issue additional information via social media when it becomes available. And basically, the short of it that was released, I guess it happened late last night that people were actually getting wind of this, but he had some kind of a situation, an episode, whatever, at his house. It's not really our business, but he was rushed to the hospital and where he's in critical condition, and people are sending their love and prayers and whatnot. And if you believe in that kind of stuff, I'm sure everything would be appreciated by the Leach family. And if you're not familiar with Mike Leach, he is one of the most charismatic interviews in all of sports, not just college football, but all of sports. Says some of the funniest things, and he's almost to the point to me where he says things so dumb they're smart. And to me, it's obviously not the same way of speaking, but he's got a little bit of Yogi Berra in him, where you wonder if he believes half the things he says, or is he just doing it for a comedic reaction? And that's what I believe it is. And we move on today. We keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and hopefully Mike will be okay. And hopefully we'll see him on the sideline soon, but more importantly, hopefully he survives whatever this condition may be. Okay, we'll go ahead and try to move on from that after a tough, that's kind of what we do here in Sports Talk. We try to entertain you even when bad things are going on. So we'll move on from that, and National Football League. I figured we'd start there. The big news in Braves country in the National Football League is that Desmond Ridder is going to get the start this Sunday. And you got to look forward to that if you're a Falcons fan, because the Falcons are going to be at the Saints after a bye week. They still kind of have a shot at this division. We'll get into the division in a second. But everyone else in the division is so bad, they're looking for Ridder to put some kind of a jolt into this offense. I've been calling this for several weeks. I felt like that when you look at the last, 5 games, the Falcons have lost 4 of the last 5. It was after the Commanders game that I really think the change should have been made, because somehow Mariota was able to will the Falcons to a win against the Bears at home. But even before that, a really inept offense, and they've got some weapons. Drake London is going to be a good young receiver. Kyle Pitts, before the injury, is looked upon talent-wise as one of the elite tight ends in the National Football League. Problem is, they're just not getting him the ball. And then, of course, you got Cordell Patterson, and you can't get him going because they're constantly behind the sticks, as everyone likes to use that term nowadays. But mainly being it's second and long, third and long, it's kind of hard to lean on the running game at that point, right? So I'm excited to see this. The game is this Sunday on Fox. There's also, for the first time all year long, we're going to get a triple header of NFL football this coming Saturday. So you look forward to that. I'm a little surprised that they don't start one game the week before. I don't know if they're just trying to stay out of the way of the Heisman Trophy presentation, but I would be really shocked if the viewership for that is very high nowadays. I really feel like that. I don't know if anyone out there watched the Heisman that's listening to this show. I forgot about it. I didn't intentionally not watch. I forgot about it because the Heisman just doesn't carry that same cachet. And I kind of figured we were going to get what we got, which was a Caleb Williams Heisman. I've said this before. I believe that Stetson Bennett deserved it because of what he's done for that team for the last 2 years, almost like a career achievement award. And I know that's not typically what it's looked to be, but that's who I would have voted for. People have asked, who would you vote for? That is who I would vote for. And With that being said, Caleb Williams wins the Heisman. What does that really mean? I remember years ago, and maybe it's just because we have so many streaming options, right? You can, if you're not that into the sporting event that night, you can Netflix, you can Hulu, you can do whatever. I don't know how many subscriptions my wife has us hooked up to, but it's a lot. Because every time I ask her, "Do we get this?" she goes, "Oh yeah, you just have to go into this streaming device or this streaming app, excuse me, and get it." I'm always surprised, like, my God, what do we not have? But when you start looking at, it's a Saturday night, maybe you want to catch a movie, maybe you're streaming Yellowstone for people that are into that. And I saw that they're coming out with a new prequel type of Yellowstone called, was it 1923? It's something like that. 1923, 1924, whatever it's called. It's off the heels of the very popular 1883, I think is what they called it, which was phenomenal. Sam Elliott played very good character in there, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. And so I am looking forward to that. I haven't got as into Yellowstone as I probably should have. I watched about the first half of the first season, didn't really grip me, but the 1883 was phenomenal. The 1924, I'm assuming, is going to be phenomenal because I can't remember the cast off the top of my head, but I remember being impressed by the trailer. So, but my point is, you have all these other options. I just don't think any award ceremony, and the only one I ever cared about was the Heisman growing up. And I don't remember when I lost absolute interest. It's got to be in the past 5 years that I've just lost absolute interest in it, because it's almost like it's gotten too predictable. And I also feel like over the last several years, it no longer goes. Now, this year's a little different, but I would be willing to bet most of those votes were casted pre-conference championship weekend. And when Caleb Williams got embarrassed like he did against Utah, there's no way I could have voted him in. But all the signs were pointing to him. If it's not Stetson Bennett, then I would have had to go with the quarterback at TCU, because every game that I watched at TCU this year, he was rallying the troops and finding a way to get the win. In fact, I think if he gets that extra half yard against K-State in the Big 12 championship, I think he does probably get the Heisman. So nothing against Southern Cal or Caleb Williams or anything like that, although evidently Caleb Williams is quite the braggadocious type of athlete. I guess he's a real in-your-face athlete. And I did get a kick out of when Utah beat them. They asked the quarterback for Utah, who, by the way, really reminds me of the ex-backup quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the kid that came from Washington State and is now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of has that dirty, mustache, mullet type of look, kind of a gritty looking athlete. And I can't repeat what he said on there, but basically he laughed at Williams for having painted on his fingernails, basically trashing Utah. That's the cleanest way I can put it. And he fired back with basically saying, "Yeah, well, that's real cute. I hope he likes his nails," and then he threw a couple expletives in it. But that kind of stuff is fun in sports, so I don't really mind Caleb Williams for that, because it gets the guys going back and forth. So you may hate the guy, or you may hate what the guy said to get the thing started, but you get entertained from it, right? So the Heisman Trophy, to me, though I still think it is the most respected award in all of sports, American sports. You can't typically go back and name the last 4 or 5 winners of the NFL MVP, the NBA MVP. Not unless you're a diehard fan and have just really gotten locked into that. But most of your college football fans are very aware of who won the Heisman. I just don't think they watch it anymore. But anyways, back to the original. We're going to have Saturday Night Football this week, and I kind of suspect in the years going forward, you're going to get a Saturday night game following the Army-Navy game. If you missed that Army-Navy game, we did the broadcast Saturday for it. If you missed that Army-Navy game, it was absolutely phenomenal. You can't go into the Army-Navy game expecting this high explosive offense, right? You just can't. But what you can do is go into the Army-Navy game and is this true? Hold on. Let me double check something real quick. Looks like we've got breaking news for the Atlanta Braves. I do want to double check this but usually the gentleman who has shared it here on our, we'll go ahead and put the comment up on our banner on our social media. It's showing here that Sean Murphy has been traded to the Atlanta Braves. Now let me see what this is about, because this is wild if this is true. I have to go to a secondary account because evidently it's Jeff Passan that is breaking the news, and he blocked our other one a long time ago. That's what it's saying. Catcher Sean Murphy has been traded to the Atlanta Braves, and I don't have the details. We'll continue to look for the details on. I don't understand why they made a trade unless they're looking at putting him behind the plate, and would Contreras be involved? That seems wild. Why would you trade William Contreras? I think he's a phenomenal player. So we'll wait to react once we get all the actual numbers on who was moved and who wasn't moved, et cetera, et cetera. But as of right now, as I'm putting this up, I want to make sure that we're sharing it on the social media pages. It looks like Sean Murphy has been traded to the Atlanta Braves. So that's a little wild, but it is what it is, I guess. We'll definitely get more information on that. And usually what happens is the initial trade happens. The initial comment happens, and then you start getting all the details. So we will get that figured out here in a second, and I am going to get you caught up on that. I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and reset here real quick. We're going to take a really quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll get all the details. Sean Murphy, catcher, is now an Atlanta Brave, according to Jeff Passan. We will be back in a flash. Do not go anywhere.
Are you listening to yourself? I always listen to myself. It's one of the great joys of my life.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio covers the whole SEC the whole season long.
Dobbs heaves it. They're bunched up in the end zone. It's tipped up. It's caught. It is caught. Jawan Jennings.
Just the start of things. First quarter at the gate of Old in Jacksonville. And Walker sneaks to the right. Gets outside. The 35. Look out. He's past midfield, and he's got a blocker. Cuts to the inside. Herschel Walker. There he goes again.
Straight up the middle. Touchdown. Delayed reaction, but Tebow got in. Oh, jump pass. How about that? Oh, my gosh. That looks like 1955. Holy cow. Are you kidding me?
Armchair.
SEC! SEC!
What does it take to break you? What does it take to break your focus because you get frustrated about what happened on the last play? What does it take to make you give in because it's hot outside, or you're tired, or you don't feel like running to the ball or giving effort or finishing the play like you should because of how you feel, whether you're a little bit hurt, what does it take to break you? It's going to be difficult because you're getting yourself ready to play an entire season at a high level. So everybody here has got to have a lot of mental toughness to be able to sustain what we do at a high level.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Now, we'll all calm down.
Boss, he's just a little excited.
I know. I'm going to use good judgment. I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But, Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. The hell I won't.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American man.
Welcome back, and we've got breaking news. We're trying to get it all cleared up. Sean Murphy of the Oakland A's, very highly touted catcher. We'll talk about him here in a second. He's heading to the Atlanta Braves, and not only did Jeff Passan break it of ESPN, but Ken Rosenthal, who I believe is the most respected of all the guys in Major League Baseball news, he is confirming it. So we'll see what's going on with that. And it's a fairly significant trade. The biggest question I have and biggest concern I have is, who did we give up? Because I would really hate to see Travis d'Arnaud go. And I would even more so hate to see Contreras go. Because Contreras, to me, the sky is the limit with that kid. The only thing I can think of, and this is me just spitballing, what if during the offseason they are teaching Mr. Contreras how to play left field? Because remember, he played that one game. He played one game. He was okay. He looked a little lost out there, but I do think it is a position that he can actually do something with and could be solid. So just hear me out for a second. What if you transition Contreras to left field, bring Murphy in for more days off for Travis d'Arnaud, and maybe even have d'Arnaud do some DHing if Ozuna doesn't work out? That would be interesting, but I would love to know what is it that they gave up, because that is the only thing that's being let out right now. But we will see. Let me see if we get here. No word yet on the return. This is 2 minutes ago from Ken Rosenthal. Players going to A's currently being informed. Now, remember, the Braves made a big trade with the A's last year. That was right before the beginning of the season to get Matt Olson. That turned out pretty good. I know some people were down on Olson. I think Olson's phenomenal. And when you consider the fact that we get younger at first base and get about the same, the biggest thing that everyone jumps at, and it's usually your older fan, is that they look at the batting average, and Freddie Freeman's batting average was much better. But when you start looking at the OPS and whatnot, and Olson carried that team on his back a few times during the season. Now, he did have long slumps, and I'm not arguing that. I get that. I totally get that. But even with that being said, he had times where he carried the team. So Sean Murphy, and I can't imagine there's a lot of folks in Braves country who are familiar with Sean Murphy, unless you play fantasy baseball or whatnot, because he plays for the Oakland Athletics. And how often are they on TV? Now, I know one of the things that they are very high on Sean Murphy about is his overall potential. He at one point was one of the biggest Major League Baseball prospects a few years ago. And then you look at what he's done, and it's not going to wow you. It just isn't. You've seen what he's done. Last year, he played 148 games, so it wasn't like he played sparingly. He had 18 home runs. He has 66 RBIs. His OPS was 759. But once again, very good defensive catcher. And I think this might be in response to the new rules that are coming this way. And think about how easily folks ran on the Braves last year. So I think that's got something to do with this. I really do. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Braves get back or what they had to give up. Was Murphy the only piece? Was this a huge trade? Was this cash considerations? Remember, Oakland is cash strapped. And the Braves are right there on that cusp of going over the threshold for Major League Baseball's, I believe it's I think it was 233, and now it's gone up. I know it goes up incrementally, but the point is the Braves are right there at that line where if they make another big signing, they're going to go over it. And they said that they don't care, but we haven't seen that. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm just going to keep myself glued as we do the show. And as soon as something pops, we will absolutely bring it to you. But Sean Murphy, good defensive catcher heading to the Atlanta Braves. I like it, but that's because I haven't seen what we've given up yet. And that's my biggest concern is Sean Murphy. Once again, he's good, but is he, if we have to give up now, I'm looking at it right now at what his contract status is. And for folks who aren't familiar with him, went to college at Wright State. He's 28 years old, just turned 28. He is an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So if he pans out, he's a catcher that you will have under contract for the next 3 years. It'll be arbitration. And going into 2023, what are they saying? The estimate will be somewhere around the 3 million mark. So anyways, that's the big news of the day, and we'll continue to try to find out what's going on with now the good thing is, and remember something about Sean Murphy too, is he's a Gold Glove catcher. So he's not just a catcher, he's a Gold Glove catcher. And we do appreciate Maverick sharing that with us. He's watching the show via social media, and he popped it into my chat, and it wasn't on any of my screens. I get updated constantly on Twitter, but it just had not loaded yet. And I was like, wow. And Josh is reporting possible 3-team trade with the Brewers. So we'll see. We'll just have to see what's going on here. The only thing that has been reported so far is that Murphy is going to be a Brave, and he's a Gold Glover. We've got him under contract for the next 3 years. He's arbitration eligible next 3 years, and we'll just have to see what happens with that. But anyways, back to the Major League Baseball free agency. I was planning on talking about that during this time block anyways, the stuff that went over on the weekend. If you missed it late last night, early this morning, Sean Manaea signed a 2-year deal with the Giants. He does have an opt-out after 1 year. It's a 2-year, $25 deal. we're at the point now with these deals where you just have to assume that they're going to opt out every time. It's a little surprising to me that these teams continue to do these opt-outs because it only benefits the player. Because if they have a bad season or they get injured, they're going to opt in. If they have a great season, they're going to leave. But realistically, what it is, some of these teams don't mind trying to get a rental and see what they can get out of them for one season, and they don't have the long-term, because it looks like that the Giants just are swinging and missing in all their big-time free agents. That being said, they're still in the mix with Carlos Correa, and it would not shock me if they don't go after Correa, if they don't get Correa, that they'll be trying to do the next best thing, which obviously would be Dansby Swanson. And the more and more that this develops, I'm sorry, Braves country, and I hate it more than just about anybody, I don't think Dansby Swanson's coming back. I just, at this point, it feels too much like the Freddie Freeman thing. And I kind of just want to see who we get instead. And Sean Murphy might be a part of that, but we'll just have to see if it ends up being a deal where they send prospects, or are they sending one of our catchers too? They send one of our catchers, I'll be crushed either way. I think the sky's the limit for Contreras. But at the same token, Travis d'Arnaud, what he does for that pitching staff in the ability to hit in big time situations, he drives the ball against the shift. I know the shift won't be as pragmatic this year as it has, but they're banning the shift, but they're not. It's not going to totally go away. You can still shift to a degree. And I thought Travis d'Arnaud in big situations was one of the best in Major League Baseball of taking what was given to him. So with all that being said and put into that, if Atlanta ends up giving away one of those catchers, I would assume it's d'Arnaud, because it's not like Atlanta to do anything foolish like give away a Contreras unless they are getting a haul back. And remember, why is Sean Murphy available? It's because the trade with Olsen, we sent our top catching prospect to the A's. And the A's already had one of our old. You remember Christian Bethancourt? Christian Bethancourt was with the A's, and then he got moved over to Tampa. So the A's and the Braves are doing a lot of deals in recent memory, and hopefully this one pans out. The biggest thing with Murphy's, he's that Gold Glove catcher, but he's not going to hit a ton. He just isn't. 250, a slug of only 426, 18 home runs. He's going to be a bottom of the lineup guy, but he's going to help you on defense. And this might be a response to a couple of things. The Mets go back and get Nemo, right? And sign him up. Well, he likes to run on the base paths. The Mets like to run on the base paths, period. At the same token, the Phillies just got faster with Trey Turner. So I feel like that this is reactive towards that. They want to make sure they're stronger behind the plate. They don't want to get ran on left and right. But it'll be interesting to see. Oh, my word. So it is true. The Braves are sending. This is just unbelievable. So Oakland is getting Manny Pena, and that actually slipped my mind. Manny Pena is going to, it's a three-way trade. According to Passan, the Oakland A's and Brewers, players heading to Milwaukee is catcher William Contreras. Oakland is getting Manny Pena. In Atlanta, I don't know if I like that deal. I don't know. I know defensively it makes a lot of sense, and I get that part. and Darnold is aging. But the offensive firepower that Contreras brings to that lineup, I hope Atlanta got more than just that. I really do. But we'll see, because the information will continue to come out. But the Braves are making the room for Pena, getting him off the roster. And he's actually making this year about which Murphy is. It's about a push. Contreras, William Contreras, if you're a Milwaukee Brewer fan, all I can tell you is that if that's all the trade was, Milwaukee won that trade. Milwaukee absolutely won that trade. Looking up William Contreras real quick on what he has left on his contract. He is, I get the wrong guy. I was like, what in the world? William Contreras. If you Google William, Wilson is the first thing that pops up. William Contreras, looking at his contract, let me pull up his whole contract, because William Contreras is a young kid and he's a powerful right-handed bat. And I wonder if they just could not come to an agreement. I mean, he's under control till 2027. So I really hope Atlanta gets more than just Sean Murphy, because if that is all they got, offensively, they took a big dip. Defensively, they just improved. But offensively, they just took a big, big dip. And that is really hard to believe. Contreras going, I think it's the bigger deal. The bigger story is Contreras is going to the Brewers. Good for the Brewers. They got one heck of a player, and it's a fan favorite too. You got to wonder what happened. Why in the world they would give up Contreras? I thought he would be locked into the Atlanta lineup for a long time. So that's a disappointing move by the Atlanta Braves, unless they got something else back. And of course, all the information will continue to roll in over the next several minutes, and we'll get you updated. But if it was just a three-way deal that's being reported right now, where Pena goes to Oakland, Contreras goes, Atlanta had to have gotten something else, I would think. Because why in the world would Contreras and Pena go to out of town for just Sean Murphy? Unless they're freeing up money. There's got to be something more to this deal than just that. That's all I know. But there's got to be. I mean, please tell me that there's more than this. And they're showing all these things out on social media right now that's showing all the, what everyone likes to call the nerd stats or the geek stats. And what they're showing is basically defensively, he's elite. That's the short of it. Whether it's framing, whether it's the pop to second, as they call it, meaning popping up and getting rid of the ball. But as far as actual batting, he's very unimpressive. So I hope the Braves get something other than just a defensive guy, because it feels like a step in the backwards. But I'm going to try to look up. I've got a couple other sources that I'm going to try to hit up real quick. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more on this, and we're going to get into the National Football League, I promise. But this drops in Braves country. I mean, this is the biggest thing the Braves have done in the offseason, essentially. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves country. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Braves country on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk, Braves country on WQEE and YouTube.com/@Braves country.
I hear these fools on TV talking about defund the police and things like that. We need police reform and prison reform and things like that. Because you know who ain't going to defund the cops? Rich neighborhoods. So that notion they keep saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, we just going to leave. Who are people supposed to call? Ghostbusters when we have crime in our neighborhoods?
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterback.
Reggie Gillespie dives into the end zone. The winning points for North Carolina State. And the teams come together in the end zone, pushing, shoving between the back and the heels as Gillespie has scored the winning points, his 5th rushing TD. But these teams need to be separated. The emotion boils over on the last play of the game as Gillespie goes to the end zone. And it's a sea of Carolina blue and State red.
And Carruthers gets into it, and they've doused him, and now we've got a big brawl out on the field, marring would have been the 200th victories for Bobby Bowden. Look at this. That's an ugly mess down there. This is ugly. Starting to get it cleared up down there. Oh, there's still some bodies flying around.
ACC football, backyard brawls all year long.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Welcome back to Braves country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m. drive time on WQEE.
You're 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing, and you got hardly a speck of athletic ability. And you hung in with the best college football team in the land for 2 years. And you're also going to walk out of here with a degree from the University of Notre Dame. In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself. And after what you've gone through, if you haven't done that by now, it ain't going to never happen.
Welcome back. We're trying to catch our wind here. Gut punch. William Contreras getting traded away along with Manny Pena, but we expected that. Here's an interesting theory that's popping around. And, of course, what they typically like to do is to tell the players involved that they're being traded before. So a lot of this is still probably coming out. What if, and this has been highly speculated all offseason long, what if the Atlanta Braves know that they are not going to get Dansby Swanson, and what if it's Willie Adames? What if it's Willie Adames? So that would be an interesting thing as well. Yeah, I saw the tweet by O'Brien, and it would have made more sense to trade Darnode. But I don't think anybody wants Darnode as opposed to liking Contreras. So that probably has something to do with it. Looks like Freddie Tarnok as well is going to the Oakland A's in the 3-team trade. So that means Atlanta's got to be getting something other than Sean Murphy. And my guess would be possibly they're going to fill either their left field need or the shortstop need. And Willy Adames has been much talked about this. Adames is still under contract until the end of 2024, so 2 years. And he is 27 years old. So they would get a little younger if he's involved. This is still speculation. But if he is involved, if he's involved, by the way, this also tells you that the Braves have given up on Dansby Swanson. And from my understanding, the Swanson thing has gotten out of control, because when you see the numbers that have come off the books for the first two shortstops, massively overpaying Xander Bogaerts until he's like in his early 40s, which is absurd. San Diego's going to rue that contract. That's going to be one of those. That's going to be. I think that'll be worse than the Pujols contract for the Angels, where he's just going to kind of piddle around the last 3 or 4 years of that deal. But then you also got the deal from Trey Turner that shocked everyone, 11 years, $300 million. And the rumor is Correa is going to get an even bigger deal, which just seems outrageous. But you put all that together, Dansby, last reported, is asking, not saying he's going to get it. He's asking, his camp's asking somewhere between 27 to 28 a year. And they want a long-term deal. Atlanta's not going to do that. They did not go out of their way to build a contender for a long time to come just to have one guy wreck their entire math. And so that's what's going on right now. And we're going to try to get this updated as quickly as possible, because the 3-team trade, we just don't know who the other. The 3-team trade, Brewers, Braves, and Oakland. The Braves are getting Murphy. The Brewers are getting William Contreras, if you're just joining us. And the A's are getting Manny Pena. If you remember last year, the Braves signed him. He never played because he got hurt. But he's a very good defensive catcher. And that's kind of where they're at this point. So the Freddie Tarnok thing, I hated it a little bit, because Tarnok has shown an ability. He popped into our bullpen late last year. And folks are really high on him. But you got to figure, if Atlanta gave up Tarnok and they gave up Contreras and they gave up Pena, there's got to be another piece coming, and we sit and we wait on that. So other things are starting to trickle out, and evidently Esteury Ruiz from Milwaukee is heading to Oakland. And that's interesting, because he's actually been high on a lot of people's lists over the last few years. He was a part of that Hader deal. He's been very inconsistent, but he's got lightning speed. Watched him play a few times, because I was streaming him in fantasy baseball, so I turned over to watch the Padres game. This is what happens when you get locked into these kinds of things. You start paying attention to really random things. But Ruiz is an interesting piece because he seemed, you know what? He makes perfect sense to go to Oakland because he just seems like the type of guy that could flourish with them. And he's a guy that Oakland would love because he's not going to make a lot of money off the bat. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward. And look, we'll continue to keep you updated. I'm refreshing every 2 seconds, but Ruiz, it's got to tell you that Atlanta is getting more than Murphy. And my guess is going to be Adames, but we'll basically hold our breath until then. Over the weekend, I was just getting to this when all this came about, so I do apologize getting sidetracked. I'm sure you're like, would you get to the point? I was not surprised, but I am impressed by the spending of the Mets, and the Mets go out and they get Senga, and that kid is supposedly really good. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to pitchers coming over from the other leagues, they tend to struggle. But if everything that's been reported about Senga is true, he's a right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher, and he's used to just pitching once a week, and it looks like the Mets are going to do just that. They don't want to wear him out. They're worried about injury. They give him a 5-year, $75 million deal, and you may be like, my God, this guy's never pitched in the majors. He's getting, well, he is 29. He's got a long and very successful career. And the reports are, now I got to see with my own eyes because you never know, but the reports are he hits the radar gun triple digits and then has something called a ghost fort ball. And I've seen it. It's basically a splitter that dies. Now, the question will be, will Major League Baseball hitters be fooled? Because when they show video of him in his previous league overseas, it looks very impressive. People are swinging out of their shoes. But that doesn't necessarily always translate. The guy that had the most success of any of them that have come over, I would say would be Hideo Nomo. Now, you do have Shohei Ohtani, but I put him in a different level and a different atmosphere because he can do both. But if you want to put Ohtani there, then yeah, that's fine as well. Just I've got to see it to believe it, because Kodai Senga is being billed as an elite pitcher. And if that's the case, he's not the number 3 guy on that team. He's the number 2 guy. I know Verlander just won the Cy Young, and Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer. But when they're healthy, if he's as unhittable as they're saying he is, heck, he could be the one guy, because we saw Verlander get pounded late in the year last year. He's only getting a year older. And then we also saw Verlander and Scherzer get handled late in the year. Now, Scherzer kind of made up for it where he had a very good outing. I think he ended up going 5 innings in the World Series. I want to say 1 or 2 runs, and they won the game, and that was huge for his legacy because he was 0 in World Series play. But I'm telling you right now, this is this would be a scary thing if Kodai Senga is halfway as good as they say he's going to be, and they can keep Verlander, they can keep Scherzer healthy. Atlanta better be doing something. because the offense is going to have to make up for what we're going to lose. If you get Willie Adames, which means you obviously don't have Dansby Swanson, or whoever plays shortstop, you're wondering what you may get if it is Adames in trade. It just makes a lot of sense because they've been talking about it. We'll just put a pin in that, but we're going to say maybe. If you do get him, he's a guy who last year hit 31 home runs, but that was a little out of character for him. The year before, he hit 26. The year before that, I'm sorry, he had 25. The year before that, I'll throw 2020 away because it was a 60-game season. You can't even go off of their stats. 2019, he hit 20, and that's as far back as we'll go because before that, he had just came up. So he's around 25-plus home runs. His career OPS is 771, but it's been much better the last two seasons. The last two seasons, it was 756 last year. He dipped a little bit towards the end. If you remember, he had a hot start, then he dipped towards the end. And then the year before that, it was 818 OPS. And the year before that, at 813 OPS. He's a guy that doesn't steal bases. He can steal, but you're not going to get a lot of stolen bases out of it. So you're not improving in that direction. But you do have some hope that if they're going to lose Dansby Swanson and you're going to try to do something with Grissom, Willie Adames, by the way, remember something too about Adames. Before he went over to Milwaukee, he had actually been a left fielder and a second baseman by trade as well. So you can kind of move him around. But if you did get that deal done, he would be your everyday shortstop in all likelihood. We're going to take a quick break. We're coming to the top of the hour. Tones is joining us here in a minute. We're going to dive into some National Football League. And whenever something else breaks here on the Atlanta Braves trade and kind of trying to get all the details, we'll get to that. If you're just joining us, the Atlanta Braves have traded Manny Pena to Oakland. They've traded William Contreras to Milwaukee. In return, they have gotten Sean Murphy so far. They also sent Freddie Tarnok in the deal out to Oakland. So the hope is Atlanta's getting more than just Sean Murphy, but we'll see. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country. You're listening to WQEE. Keep it locked in here on 99.1 FM and wherever you may be streaming us.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. In case you missed it over the weekend and late last night, Major League Baseball free agency is continuing to charge towards the new season. Kevin Kiermaier agrees to terms with the Toronto Blue Jays. The center fielder leaves the Tampa Bay Rays, but will stay in division. The three-time Gold Glover joins a new-look outfield that lost Teoscar Hernandez in a trade with the Seattle Mariners. Also late last night, Sean Manaea signed a 2-year deal with the San Diego Padres, reportedly 2 years, $25 million, with a opt-out clause for Manaea at the end of the season. The New York Mets keep getting stronger. They add Kodai Senga, right-handed starting pitcher, 5 years, $75 million. Senga is 29 years old. He starred in 11 seasons with the Fukuoka Hawks of Nippon Professional Baseball, going 104-51 with a 2.42 ERA, over 1,300 innings in 275 starts. Senga has been recorded with triple-digit fastballs and a split-finger fastball that is nicknamed the Ghost Fort. National Football League is back at it again tonight. The New England Patriots travel to the Arizona Cardinals. Bill Belichick and company are 6-6 on the year, while the Cardinals have disappointed their fan base at 4-8. Patriots are 2.5-point favorite, and the over-under is 43.5. The Atlanta Hawks are back on the court tonight. They travel to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. That game can be seen on NBA TV nationally. Atlanta is an 8-point underdog. 227.5 is the over-under. Other games of interest in the NBA tonight: the Heat are at the Pacers at 7 o'clock. Celtics are at the Clippers, 10:30 Eastern. That game can also be seen on NBA TV. The Oklahoma City Thunder are at the Magic, 8:30, first tip, while the T-Wolves and Trailblazers battle out in Portland at 10 o'clock tonight. A game of note in SEC men's basketball play, 9 o'clock on ESPN2, you'll have Memphis, 8-2 on the year, traveling to number 8 Alabama. The Crimson Tide are 8-1 and 4-0 at home. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Welcome back. I didn't realize I had things on that aren't supposed to be on, things off that aren't supposed to be off. Trying to get the studio straight. That really threw me for a loop. The Braves make a trade, and we're still trying to get the details. We got some of our loyal listeners and viewers that are also trying to help me out. Thanks, Mav, and everyone else that's watching. Kenneth, JL. I apologize if I'm missing some. I have to Josh. And just trying to get caught up with what's going on in Braves country. And essentially, if you missed it, if you're just joining us, you're just getting in the car, like, what is going on? The Braves get Murphy. The Brewers are getting William Contreras and Yeager, a pitcher another right-hand pitcher from Atlanta, and a right-handed pitcher from Oakland. The A's are getting Kyle Muller, Manny Pena, Tarnock, and Ruiz. Surely to God we're getting more than that back. Murphy? Nothing against Murphy, but he barely hits his weight. Though he's a good defensive player. My word, we better be getting more than that. I mean, so far, this could not be it. But that is a tweet from Rosenthal, who's kind of updating you. And just trying to go from there as far as trying to piece it together. We're going to get more details, but hopefully Atlanta's getting more than that. Now, there might be someone coming from Milwaukee, and I'm thinking it's Adames, but it might be someone that they can't get a hold of yet, and they're trying to give the other player a fair chance to find out the news firsthand as opposed to secondhand. But there has got to be more to it than this. But anyways, that's what's going on right now. Atlanta gets a defensive catcher, and you like that. And they'll still have Travis d'Arnaud. And so you like that as well. But what you hate is that you lose Contreras. But if you were also getting Adames in this deal, it's a little easier. It's a little easier pill to swallow. But if that's all it is, Braves country gonna be hangry. Welcoming on to the show, Mr. Tones. Tampa Tones, how are you, sir?
My internet looked like the Bucks there for a minute yesterday, but we're back. We're ready to roll, and we're here trying to, keep talking sports. A lot to talk about now. Atlanta just made that big trade, as you alluded to. T.Y. Hilton just signed with the Cowboys. We got that factor in the NFL. So
I don't know if I would call that big news.
Hey, at one point in time it would be. Right now, who
yeah.
knows?
I mean, if this story was 7 years ago, it'd be a huge story. I mean, what in the world? But okay.
And I heard a week ago, not that many got it right, but I heard Braves were a potential landing spot for Murphy, and it sounds like this is one of
They've been
those.
talking about Murphy for a couple of years now, but I kind of thought it was put on the back burner because of the success. In fact, last year when they made the trade with Olsen, the first initial rumor was that Murphy could be involved. But because of the success of Contreras, I kind of figured they put that on the back burner. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put it this way. I would be much more excited about this move if we were keeping Contreras. And even though I hate to lose him, if we were trading d'Arnaud just because of d'Arnaud's age, right?
Right.
And when they first started talking about Murphy coming in the deal, I was actually thinking maybe they're going to slide Contreras over into left field / DH type of role, which I'd have been all for.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, Milwaukee got one heck of a catcher. If they can teach him the ins, and he's gotten so much better defensively over the last calendar year. But there's got to be more. I do not believe that Atlanta and JL's asking, and that's exactly what I've been saying is I think it could be Willy Adames. I really think it could be Willy Adames. Because Willy Adames would make so much sense. And I said it last hour, but it'd be a lot easier to swallow this pill if you were getting yourself a shortstop that you desperately need. Because you didn't really need a catcher.
Right.
You needed a shortstop. But could there be a reason why that part's being held up? And it could be something as simple as they haven't broken the news to whoever the other guy is.
Yeah, and you look at the trade, and I think you're 100% right. I firmly believe that right now the Braves are getting the best player in the deal, but at the same time, given the said pieces and the nature of the
No,
trade,
I think the Brewers are getting the best player in the deal right now. Long term, offensively, Contreras is
right, but
be a better hitter than the Wilson Contreras that you watched in Chicago for years.
right,
That is saying a mouthful.
agreed. But right now,
he's a solid. He's a very, very. He's a very, very, very good hitting catcher. I think William Contreras could break records when it comes to catchers.
I agree with that. Down the road, I'm talking about this year. I feel like me personally, I feel like for this season, the Braves got the best piece to help him win at this point in time with Murphy. But I think they will get more pieces back as well when you look at things, as you alluded to, outfielder help, maybe infielder help. Willie Adames, that'd be a huge, huge acquisition if the Braves could pull that one off.
Yeah, basically Adames would he would basically be a lateral move at catcher. I mean, at shortstop. You can make an argument that Dansby's better. You can make an argument that Adames is better, but at the end of the day, it's if you're not a Braves fan, if you're not a Brewers fan, if you're not a fan of one of the players, you look at it, it's about a lateral move and you get a little younger. But it just, man, the Contreras thing hurts. He was one of my favorite players, and I hate to see him go.
That's how Wilson was for me, man. We're Contreras-less now, sadly,
right,
but
saw it coming, right?
Yeah,
saw it coming. But when you just all of a sudden it just flashes up on the screen, you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that's one of those moves when you're a Braves fan. You're happy because you see you get Sean Murphy, but then you see Contreras out going, and
I will say this. Alex Anthopoulos will drive a man to drink. I will tell you that right now.
Hey, Maverick says that
in the Tennessee Titans secondary.
Hey, a lot of stuff yesterday can make us drink. Amen to that, brother. We have a lot of problems on our hands in football. One quick question here. I find Maverick says, unless it might be Christian Yelich, how would you feel if he moved to Atlanta? I find that hard to believe that he'd be the other part of that, but hey, you never know.
Okay. Christian Yelich doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's what I think too.
Christian Yelich has 7 years left on his contract. Christian Yelich is going to average about $24 million a year on that contract. And Christian Yelich has fallen off and he's 31 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pie in the sky stuff. I don't think he's even a conversation. I think if the Brewers had a chance, they would. If they traded Christian Yelich to someone, they don't get anything in return. So that's why I don't think, because that's such a bad contract. When they locked him into the original contract, it was 7 years. No, I'm sorry. The original contract was, when did it start? 2022 is what it looks like. Okay. So his original contract was 22, 23, 24, all the way to 29, which, by the way, in 29, it's 26, almost 27 million. Unless they're paying it. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, why would you, right? I mean, that's ridiculous. A lot of money right there. Kind of ridiculous, too. Side note, all different colored check marks on Twitter now and everything. I see yellow marks out of nowhere.
What is yellow? Yellow, blue? What is this?
So NFL Twitter has a yellow one, and it says this account is verified because it's an official business on Twitter.
No, they all have those yellows, the business ones. I've noticed. There was
yeah.
It wasn't NFL. It was something else that I saw today. I saw the yellow, and I was like, what is this?
And then John Heyman is blue. This is kind of funny, though, when you click
So
into the
what I think yellow might be an actual business per se. And blue check mark may be a person. That's what I think it is.
And it's kind of funny because next to John Heyman, he has a check mark. It says this is a legacy verified account. It may or may not be notable. So yeah, you're right on that. Blue is for like people or, news, so to say, while yellow's for businesses or organizations.
One thing that you're missing in this whole conversation too, that a lot of people are overlooking in this trade, they sent Kyle Muller in the trade.
Whew.
Kyle Muller was the number 1 prospect in Baseball America Braves top 10 prospect rankings just last month. Not 3 years ago, not what he meant. No, last month, Baseball America's prospect rankings, Kyle Muller was your number 1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tarnock was number 9. They have to be getting something else. So we'll just have to hold our horse and see what is. Maybe there's a 4th team that's not being reported. Who knows?
It sounds like a lot.
The A's are getting a lot better, a lot faster with the help of the Atlanta Braves.
One way to look at it, but it does sound like
here's an interesting comment. I don't mean to cut you off, but one of our guys on a YouTube is JL says Atlanta might get Burns. Now, wouldn't that? No, then I would say I shut up. You the man. Hey, I want whatever, man. If we got Corbin Burns after what the Mets did with their pitching staff, he popping champagne. I don't think that's what it's going to be, but that would be awesome.
If you were to get any 3 of those, Peralta, Burns, or Woodruff, I'd feel pretty highly of this deal. I don't think it's likely, but if you're able to, you're doing backflips because all of those guys would make this pitching staff that much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's see, Corbin Burns. Remember looking at this last week, and they asked about Burns and Woodruff. Someone specifically asked the Brewers general manager at the winter meetings, and he seemed like he was like, what are you, nuts? I'm not trading him. But I will say this, Burns is estimated to make 12.7 in arbitration this year. Then he has 1 more year of arbitration. He's unrestricted free agent. He's going to bank on that. When he hits free agency, he'll be 30. He'll be looking like whatever we see Carlos Rodon get is what Burns is going to
We have breaking news, McGee. We got Chris Bassett to the Blue Jays.
All right, whatever. I'm worried about the Braves, man.
3 years, $63 million.
The Blue Jays just basically got a number 4 starter to get pounded around in the American League East.
Yeah, maybe no lies detected, but he has played in the AL before, although it was Oakland. But and then it says yet 1 more pillar gone from the A's. Sean Murphy is heading to Atlanta. It sounds like a lot of coaches on the A's are sad about that, losing Sean Murphy. So
that's because they haven't seen Kyle Muller pitch. That's because they haven't seen Freddie Tarnock pitch. And they're also getting Manny Pena, who didn't play last year because of injury, but he's a really good defensive catcher. I'm kind of surprised with Milwaukee being involved that they didn't want him back, but if you're going to get Contreras, then I get it. We are going to have to take a really quick break. I hate to do it because, man, things are flying right now. The hot stove is heated up. When we come back, we're going to try to squeeze some football talk in here, but it's an organism that breathes like this, and if we get more Braves news, we'll definitely bust in on it. Smoke them if you got them. It's 4:20. We'll be back in a flash here on The Key, Armchair Quarterback Radio. You're listening to Braves Country.
Stupid interviews. Hey, you're a member of the Buffalo Bills. How does it feel?
Well,
It's a blessing. I want to thank God. Going to try to do my best. It's a great organization. And I'll say the last 80 guys said. So, yeah.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at ourdragonsmerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at ourdragonsmerch.com. That's the letter R, dragonsmerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to dixiehandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners, okay? All right, let's go. Let's go. Let me hear it.
Welcome back. The Atlanta Braves have made a trade, getting Sean Murphy, and the deals are still the details are still coming in, and we're hoping we got a little bit more than that because we gave up a lot. I'm really jacked by what I don't know if there's any basis of it, but the comment by JL saying we might get Corbin Burns during the break. All I could think of, Tones, is can you imagine what the reaction in New York and Philly would be after they did all the wheeling and dealing they do, and we go, by the way, opening day, we're not sure, it's either going to be Max Fried or Corbin Burns going to the bump.
That would be incredible, and I think that either way, I mean, that'd be one of the better, if not the best 1-2 punch you got going right there in the NL. I mean, Corbin Burns is electrifying, Max Fried electrifying. Who would you prefer as your day one opener, Fried, because he's been there longer?
You know what? It'd be a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's not a problem you care about having.
Fighter that you could, in theory, put out there as your number one. And oh, by the way, the guy that led the league in wins, Kyle Wright, he's going, hey, don't forget me. And if something like that were to take place, if they were to get another big arm, that would mean Charlie Morton, who led the National League in strikeouts last year, he'd be your number 5.
Wow.
That doesn't seem right.
He'd be like the Cubs 1 or 2.
Now, the only thing that I'm sitting here is I wish the national media quit focus on Chris Bassett going to the Blue Jays. I mean, that's not a big deal. I want them to focus on the fact, find out what else the Braves got.
Right. Really crunch what we're interested in.
Something's going on here with this trade. There's no way. I cannot believe that would be, you would lose so much for very little gain.
Yeah, and Jeff Passan tried to say that was the full trade, what we mentioned already, but as we know with Jeff Passan, you never know. But he did put out a tweet about 5 minutes ago that says full trade per ESPN sources. Atlanta gets Sean Murphy, Oakland gets that conundrum of players, and Milwaukee gets Contreras, Yeager, and Joel Payamps.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. If that's it, then that was a dumb trade.
Yeah, like you said, I do like Sean Murphy, but if you had to give up Contreras with a plethora of other guys, including Moeller in there too, that trade doesn't seem appealing. But if Passan screwed up, they do get another chip in there, then that's appealing. But right now, kind of a mystery.
If that is it, that's actually disappointing. Now, I didn't realistically believe the Corbin Burns thing, but I thought the Willy Adames would be very, very possible.
Yeah, and it seemed like a lot of people did on the socials as well. I've seen several people speculate that would happen, but now it seems as if perhaps this is the peak of the pie. We know how these things work.
We'll keep an eye on it because things like this usually trickle out.
Correct.
And we'll just revisit it if anything pops up between now and the top of the hour. If not, we'll hit it tomorrow. But let's go ahead and go on to the National Football League. If we can try to switch gears here with all the stuff going on in Major League Baseball. All right. Number one with the bullet. What is wrong with the Buccaneers?
What isn't wrong with the Buccaneers after watching that game yesterday? But it's been the same old thing for, I'd say since about week 3 now. The first 2 weeks we were fine because we won those games, so the flaws got covered up a little bit. It's everything you put together, the play calling, the execution of plays, underthrowing, flag after flag on the offensive line. And then the defense, they're just so banged up right now. They did not have a good game at all yesterday. But when you're down Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield Jr., Mike Edwards, Sean Murphy Bunting, 4 of your top 12 players, it's going to be tough out there. With that being said, no excuse that Brock Purdy was able to look like that. We did not do a good job of getting after the quarterback. And when the Buccaneers did, the first play of the game, it drew that unnecessary roughness penalty. So right now, this Bucs team is poorly coached. I think Todd Bowles is showing that. I think Byron Leftwich is showing that. And they're not executing well, even when they do make the big plays like we've seen yesterday. Mike Evans touchdown to tie the game. Penalty negated that. Buccaneers get a turnover. Penalty negated that. Buccaneers get another good touchdown later in the game. Penalty negated that. Even when this team is executing, penalties. That's a representation of bad coaching and lack of focus, perhaps. They only got 4 games left to figure this out. And to me, quite frankly, they really can't figure the offense out this season. So they got to have to hope to buckle down, hope the defense steps up somewhat down the run here, hope they do back their way into the dance, and see if Tom Brady could figure things out. Him and Evans clearly aren't on the same page. The tight end production isn't there. The one guy who seems to have it going right now, Chris Godwin and Julio Jones, seem to be playing okay. Other than that, I mean, Rashad White and Lenny F are a fine running back tandem as well, but we just can't put the plays together. We can't piece it together, and we just can't execute. Mike Evans has had numerous big touchdowns called back on penalties. Donovan Smith, the left tackle, whether you oblige the penalties or not, those are becoming a big deal. They're adding up quick, and they're negating big plays in these ball games. We've seen it last week, Monday night. The first touchdown that gave us the lead got called back on a Donovan Smith holding penalty as well. So Bucs are going to have to clean up a lot of things penalty wise, coaching wise, execution wise, moving forward. And oh, by the way, the Bengals are coming to town this week.
Yeah. I hate to break it to you, but that's an L.
Hey,
they're playing really good football.
Mm-hmm. I don't see us winning that one this week.
Same token, I feel like this is why I locked it in together on our show sheet before I feel like they're in the same position as the Tennessee Titans, where they're playing awful football. They don't really appear to be a very good team, but they're probably going to win their division because of the rest of the division. You look at the Bucks. Now I know it's only one game, but they're all of a sudden, look out, here come the Panthers, break up the Carolina Panthers, right? Panthers have won 2 in a row. The Falcons are 5-8. The Panthers are 5-8. The Bucks are 6-7. And the Saints really aren't out of it, although it would take a lot for them to get back into that. I think they'd almost have to run the table.
Right.
But they've got a big game this week because Falcons Saints is this week, and Desmond Ridder is going to finally get a chance to play. If the Falcons can go in and get a W, Carolina is a game behind, and it's like you mentioned, the Bucks are playing the Saints. Excuse me, the Bengals. That, by the way, is the 4:25 game on Sunday. So I would think that's America's game. It's got to be. Not Titans Chargers. I can tell you that as a Titans fan, it's not Titans Chargers, man. Although that's probably going to be an entertaining game. The Titans have laid 2 eggs in consecutive weeks. Nobody wants to see that nationally.
We're not far off.
I'm sorry, do what?
We're not far off. We were one play or, one drive away from laying back-to-back eggs against the Saints and the 49ers.
Yeah. The Bucks did lay back-to-back eggs. They just happened to win one.
Correct.
It's kind of like what the Rams did to the Raiders. They were terrible, but they found a way to beat Derek Carr.
Baker pulled one out of his hat.
Terrible, but they found a way to beat Andy Dalton.
And he's starting again this week, speaking of Andy Dalton.
Carolina, by the way, what time is their game? Here we go. I kept scrolling past it. 1 p.m. CBS game. They're on Sunday. They're playing the Steelers at home. That's a very realistic W for the Panthers. If the Falcons can upset the Saints, because I believe the Saints are actually a favorite. They are. They're a 4-point favorite. I'm really tempted to take the Falcons, by the way, but they're a 4-point favorite. If Falcons find a way to get a W, Panthers get a W, and Joe Burrow and company can come in and continue to roll, they're playing really good football. You could have a 3-way tie in the AFC South next Monday morning.
And it's looking more and more like that.
And if you look at the Bucks and their schedule, they then have to go out to Arizona, which is never an easy game to win.
On Christmas night as well.
Yeah, that's going to put a lot of people to sleep. If it wasn't for the star power of Tom Brady, there'd be a lot of people just dipping out on that game. And then they finish off with the Panthers, but thankfully for your sake, it's in Tampa. And then they're in Atlanta. This AFC South race, though, I know a lot of people outside of it looking in are going to mock and say that they don't deserve to have a whatever. I believe if you win your division in the NFL, if you win your division in Major League Baseball, you deserve a shot at the playoffs. It goes in ebbs and flows, and there's going to be years where the NFC South is going to have one of the better teams in the league, and there's going to be years like this year. So you go to the AFC South and you look at what the Jaguars did to the Titans yesterday. They're still a long way off. They're still, do I have it right? Two games behind Tennessee.
That sounds right.
In theory, if the Jags were to sweep the season series and the last game of the year is in Jacksonville, I'm going to that game. Tennessee, if they were to sweep the season series, they would get the home field. They would get the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
So Tennessee's going to have to wake up because Jaguars are at home this week, but now they are playing the Cowboys. And I would think that game against Houston got the Cowboys' attention, and they're going to be a little more locked in on the Jaguar game. But I don't really look at the Colts as any kind of a threat to do anything. They're 4-8-1, and they are on the road in Minnesota after Minnesota just lost. I'm pretty sure they're going to be 4-9-1, right?
Right.
That's the AFC South could come down to, in theory, if Jacksonville can get some W's, because Tennessee is playing terrible football right now. If they can get some W's, and they got a couple of tough games coming up. They're at home against Dallas, then they're at the Jets, and that's a Thursday night game. And planning on doing that. By the way, I mentioned earlier was going to do the game on the 29th. Can't do it on the 29th. Just realized that because I'd made a commitment to something that was involving a Florida State outlet that wants me to chime in during their bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what time that's going to be. And the bowl game is going to cross over into the Thursday night game of the Titans game. So that's a wrap. But we are planning on bringing this Thursday night's game, Seahawks and 49ers, which I can't wait to do that one. That was a lot of fun Saturday, but that should be a really fun one. NFL, one of the bigger games of the week.
Seattle really needs to win that one too. San Fran with Brock Purdy looking good, obviously, yesterday against the Bucs.
He did, didn't he?
He really did. I mean, you got to give.
We found out why they didn't put any kind of. Remember me mentioning this last week? I said, the fact that they did not make any kind of a waiver claim for Baker Mayfield tells you they like what they've got in Purdy.
Mm-hmm. You did say that exact statement last week, and that means they really did. And I mean, watching the game, you've seen all these players' quotes from some of the best on the team: Fred Warner, Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk. They all had faith in Purdy. I know some of that's coach speak, some of that's player speak, but at the end of the day, really not a bad word said about him by anyone around the San Fran area.
I thought he played an efficient game, a solid game. He didn't light the place up. You're not going to lock him down to a 10-year deal.
Right.
But he moved that offense. The biggest question with San Francisco going forward, and I bet you he doesn't play this Thursday, is that it's being reported as a high ankle sprain for Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I got him on a fantasy team as well. That's just between that San Fran season. They're lucky it wasn't anything worse. So hopefully they could get him back in 3 or 4 weeks. If that's a fractured ankle, their season is in the shimmer.
So it's kind of putting a wrap on the AFC South, NFC South talk, but I did want to address the fact that these divisions almost look like that they were a foregone conclusion this time last week. They've kind of opened up a little bit. Bucks are in a little more of a dogfight than what the Titans are, just because A, the Titans have a 2-game cushion, and B, they only have one team to worry about, where the Bucks kind of have to worry about all 3 teams, because if the Saints were to beat the Falcons, then they would be back in the mix.
Yeah, the only way the Titans have to worry is if Jacksonville goes 2-1 and Titans go 1-2. That's obviously 3-0, 0-3. That's even a bigger worry. But as long as Titans could win 2 games heading into that Jacksonville week, they should be okay, because I don't see Jacksonville going 3-0 in the next 3 weeks. And realistically, they really need Titans to go 1-2 unless they go 3-0. And I don't see Jaguars beating Dallas, Jets, and at Houston. I don't see 3 wins coming out of that stretch. Meanwhile, the Titans, you look at their schedule, I don't see them only winning, even though they did lay a clunker. They got Chargers, Texans, Cowboys. They should be able to either manage at least 2 wins or have Jaguars only win one of those 3 and put themselves in okay positioning come week 18.
We're going to take a really quick break. We'll be back in about 90 seconds, and we're going to wrap up this edition of Braves Country. Atlanta Braves getting Sean Murphy. We're hoping more, but it's not looking good so far. We'll be back in a flash here on The Key and wherever you stream Braves Country HD.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines 2 of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. Little Bites? That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute? I love Little Bites. I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay? Got it. As I was saying, whenever I bring home you know what, you know who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious. I love Little Bites. Here you go. Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
I'm sure of it.
I hate him.
He's drunk.
In vino veritas.
Ajay Kurajis.
Come on, boys. We don't want any trouble in here, not in any language. That's Latin, doll. Evidently, Mr. Ringo's an educated man. Now I really hate him.
Welcome back, Braves Country. Over the weekend, the Mets signed the next future Cy Young winner, according to many folks. And the Braves go out and make a trade today to get worse at catcher. That's all I can figure out. And cost them a little more money. They do get Manny Pena off the books. But if this is all they get in return, just that one player, I'm hoping at least they got some prospects to help beef up their Sean Murphy is not that. I feel like he's overinflated. You look at his numbers. I know defensively he's outstanding, but offensively, if you're just looking for a defensive player, you already had it, Manny Pena. But we move on, and we'll see. Hopefully, there's more to this story. I've got faith that there is, but we'll see what happens. It's not looking good so far.
Hey, you got to hold out faith at this point, see what happens, and regardless, if not, well, you just hope that Sean Murphy is what they're bargaining for, because it was a steep price at that point. He is good on defense, but it was a hefty haul. We'll see how it shakes out.
Something that is interesting, and sometimes it takes them a little while to do it, so maybe much to do about nothing, but the Atlanta Braves themselves have not released anything. And normally right after a trade, like right after they made the deal to bring in Jimenez from the Tigers, shortly after that, the Braves have a press release that they'll release. So because this is not officially released, we may not have all the details yet. So we'll keep you in the look and in the know. But until then, let's get into some more football. And first of all, Tones, we've got the game coming y'all's way. Tones and I will be on the call Thursday night. Excited to do that. And I also want to make sure that I wish my wife a happy birthday. It's technically tomorrow, but we're going out and celebrating it tonight. She's turning 20 years old today. She's very excited to. I can tell you how many times she's turned 20 years old, but she's turning 20.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
So a bunch of her friends and some of my friends are getting together, and we're looking forward to that.
Monday Night Football, right? Or wherever you're watching it, even if it's not.
I don't think the game will be on, but I'm not really worried about it. And first of all, sometimes it is what it is. But the other thing is, Patriots Cardinals doesn't really do it for me, anyways. I mean,
not me either.
If it's on, I'm sure I'll check the score every once in a while, but that's kind of a dud.
Correct. It's a dud for Monday night. I was gonna say that as well. Whether you could watch a game or not, at least you got good friends in the room, good family, and celebrating a nice lady's birthday. Happy birthday to your missus, and hope you guys have a good night tonight.
We'll have an even better night if we find out that Corbin Burns is a part of this package.
Until you find out they had to give up more, maybe too.
Yeah, I find out that we had to also pay the freight and include Michael Harris in this deal just to get a catcher. There might be some explicitives, thrown out there.
Please stand by. Beep beep.
These losers that keep putting their porn stuff in our comments on social media. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm going to block it. What are you doing?
Creepy people out there.
Yeah, a bunch of freaks. Anyways, I thought they. Never mind. I won't make that joke. I'll leave that one alone. Kid and the family been through enough. So going into just kind of reacting to the NFL weekend, and where you see the standings sitting at, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit of the playoff push. Let's just focus on the NFC today, because with the Falcons, and then of course your Bucks, it's really going to come down to that divisional. I would be shocked if anyone in the NFC South got a wild card, but there is a path to it. Got to start getting some big time L's from the Seahawks, Giants, and Commanders. And the problem is the Commanders and Giants play each other this weekend. That's an issue, because you'd like them both to lose. So if you're in the NFC South, if you're a Falcons fan, if you're a Panthers fan, if you're a Buccaneers fan, and even a Saints fan, you're still alive, and it's going to get very interesting. I think this weekend's going to be enormous. Maybe not so much for the Bucks, because let's just say that we assume they lose. Now, if they shock the world and beat Joe Burrow, then good for them, and they kind of right the ship, so to speak. But even if they lose, and I know the fan base is going to want the sky's falling and all that kind of stuff, they're still going to be in first place in the division.
Right.
With what it'll be 3 games to go, right? A 3-game challenge. And some winnable games. And then, of course, the big game in Atlanta. Man, if I could get away, I would love to meet you for that game in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Bucks, Falcons, all on the line. I would love to, but there's just it comes at a really bad time of the year.
And it is something I firmly believe, no matter how bad the Bucks play, as long as they somehow find a way to win against Carolina and Atlanta, they should win the division, even if it is at 8-9. But with that being said, you can't count out either of these teams yet. So I might be going to that game. I'm not sure yet. As you said, it does come at a bad time of the year. We'll see.
How about this? How about Giants Commanders was flexed into the Sunday night game? That's a shocker to me. The other thing is, and this tells you that they care about the ratings nowadays on the Sunday night game. That used to not be the thing. The Saturday night game on the NFL Network, it's a triple head on the NFL Network. It has now been flexed where it's Dolphins Bills. And I don't have it in front of me, and I don't remember what it was, but that was not the game on Sunday night before that.
No, definitely not.
Because
That's
we
definitely
talked
a flop.
about this week, and it was something really bad, and I remember at the time going, ugh, that's the game? So Dolphins, Bills, that should be a fun one. The early game on Saturday is Colts, Vikings, and Ravens, Browns. Ugh. You know what? Wake me up around 7 o'clock Eastern. I mean, I'm planning on working all day that day. I just those two first games are just duds. They're
Correct.
absolutely duds. You've got the NFL flex game of Saturday night. Sunday night, Giants Commanders. I will watch that game because it does mean something for the wild card, and I'll be interested to put some maybe put some action on that game. Right now, by the way, and remember they just tied each other just 2 weeks ago. Giants and Commanders. Washington's a 4.5-point favorite.
Wow.
I smell some Giants.
Yeah.
The other thing that you look at when you look at the schedule, if you do want to flip ahead a bit, is week 16. And I do plan on doing it. I'm hoping you're able to join me. I do plan on doing the Jaguars Jets game Thursday the 22nd. But there is not a triple header on Saturday the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. It's actually all the games except for 3 will be on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And the Christmas Day game, Packers, Dolphins, Bucks, Cardinals, Broncos, Rams. Man, those are some duds.
Clunking.
I'll probably watch the night game. I can't imagine I'll have eyes on the early game, and the afternoon game. I am purposely staying away from that. That is terrible. Broncos and Rams. Merry Christmas to me. Whoa. And then if it doesn't get worse than that, Monday Night Football that week, Chargers and Colts. I'm going to be locking into bowl games. But
I feel like Colts keep popping up on primetime now as well.
By the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but they got to flex the Christmas Eve game too. I know it's Raiders and Steelers, and I understand that, the fan bases, but they've got to flex that. Get it out.
That's a night game right now?
Yes.
I'll be watching the Hawaii Bowl.
They've got to flex it into. I mean, Giants Vikings would be more interesting, especially if the Giants were able to win.
Correct.
Seahawks Chiefs. I would take that.
Yep.
Let me see what other. Bengals Patriots. Maybe.
I'd take that one over what's there right now, at least.
Commanders Niners.
That's a good one.
I don't think Fox would give up the stranglehold of Eagles Cowboys. That's the 425 game of the week. I don't think Fox is going to let you have that one.
Nope.
So I think all the other ones could be up for grabs, though.
I would really. The Commanders Niners has a good ring to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good 4 other games that's realistic that if the Giants somehow beat the Commanders, I would love to see Giants Vikings. But if the Commanders beat the Giants, but the problem is that they probably have to make that decision a little before that. But Commanders 49ers would be the play.
Right. Heck, I mean, I know it would never happen, and I'm not lobbying for it. I'd personally rather see Falcons Ravens on that night than Steelers Raiders at this point in time.
Especially if the Falcons found a way to win this week in New Orleans. That would actually be a really important game because you'd have 2 division leaders. I don't care what the records say, they're 2 division leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Do a real quick check on Twitter one last time before we go to bounce out of here. I don't see anything else new on the Braves trade. So if that's all they got, the only thing I can think of is they're trying to free up money.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything at this point in time as well on the Braves adding anyone else, but maybe, like you said, behind the scenes, some money implications or whatnot.
Sean Murphy, by the way, this year estimated to get 3.3. Manny Pena, I believe, if memory serves me correct, was below that, but let me just double check it real quick before we have to climb out of here. Manny Pena, let me see here. Okay. Wow, that was quick. They've already they've already updated it on Spot Track. They've already got Pena as being an A. Manny Pena, about the same price. He was due for 3.5. Something I did not realize, and I thought he was an unrestricted free agent, but evidently not. Manny Pena has there's a club option for 24. So if the club, in theory, they saved about $1 million off the top, 1.2 to be exact. And then I still feel like something else is coming. It may not be in this trade, but maybe they're making room for something else. So
yeah, they have to have an impending shortstop, in my opinion, or an outfielder, perhaps. But because they do have Grissom, so you never know if they feel comfortable enough with him at short or not. But to me, they're lining up someone in the woodworks with these money maneuvers.
Unless they have got a separate trade with one of these clubs to do something else with, and they say, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and they're figuring that out. That has happened from time to time too, where you get the 3-team deal and you announce that, and then off to the side, Atlanta makes a trade for whether it's someone coming in from Milwaukee, which would make more sense, or maybe it's someone coming in from Oakland. But anyways, we're getting close to the top of the hour. What is your walk off for the day, sir?
Man, hot stove heating up, and so is football season. I'm really anxious to see where our teams end up a couple weeks from now. All I know is this: I'd rather have the Bucs pathetically make the playoffs and win a low division, because as we talked about, we've seen some low division winners like Seattle and Carolina in years past get a couple playoff victories. So for teams like Tennessee, Tampa, even Atlanta or Carolina, don't get discouraged by the talk of media. Go out and win your division.
Real quick, I'll make a real quick. I think the Patriots win tonight. It'll be an ugly game, low scoring game. Take the under, and I think the Patriots win by field goal. All right, we're going to be taking off out of here. Coming your way at the top of the hour is Farrell Coast to Coast here on the Key, and we will see you back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Man, Braves, come on, man, wake up, do something. Hopefully we've got a lot better news heading into tomorrow's show. Have a great Monday night, y'all.
Good night, folks.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.